things around the band.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just you know. There's some freaks out there that that's all they do. They practice and practice. And it's cool, it's fun, but 50% of it's getting out and networking, getting your band seen, getting known.
How did you join David Lee Roth?
The David Lee Roth gig was.
You were young.
I was 27, at that gig, and when I moved to LA, I started doing like a lot of sessions and things. It's hard to get in that circuit of like, okay, do I want to be of course, I was in original bands that I wanted to get signed to get a record deal, but it's really hard to do that. So I was like, maybe I should I was really good at memorizing songs, learning material fast. So I got known around LA as like, oh, he can learn.
How do you write the grooves?
Not really. I don't write a lot of stuff out. I memorize really well. Like if you play me a record, I listen to it 2-3 times. I can almost play it back. I just have a weird brain like that, But I do sometimes if it's complicated, a Dream Theater piece or something, I'm gonna write it out, Yeah. But I started doing that, and I got the Jakey Lee gig in '94. That was my first tour. The Ozzy Osbourne guitar player. That gig was a lot of memorization, a lot of improv on stage. He would just play, and then each gig leads to the other, And then I toured with Arcade in '95, the Stephen Pearcy singers, Rat. And then when I got done with that, I started doing a lot of sessions. So I played on this guitar player's record named Mike Hartman. I played 2 songs on his record, and he was young. He was 21 at the time. He calls me up. He's like, I played you the 2 songs for David Lee Roth. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Because I'm a huge David Lee Roth fan. And he says, David really likes the songs. Would you come down and record, more stuff for him? And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I went down in the studio and recorded with Dave 2 songs, and I thought that was it. I thought I just did the session, I leave, I go do another session, and the manager called me the next day and said, that was your audition, you passed. And I'm like, what do you mean I passed? Because David was asking me questions.
Okay.
What if I said, swing this part, and straighten this out, put a fill here, and I was like, really strange things, but that was my audition. But they didn't tell me, so I'm glad, because I'd have been nervous,
Yes.
But that was 8 years. It was great. I got to do a lot of records and tour,
which was the most difficult things to play with
with David?
Was for teacher?
It was hard at first because we opened with that song every night, and at first I did the full drum intro and everything, but then it took him too long to come out on stage and doing a drum solo in the beginning of the night. So I started doing with the guitar picked up, and then everyone said, "Oh, you can't play at the beginning." I'm like, "Yeah, I can, but David doesn't want me to." So I was fucked up because I had to it was weird for me because now I'm going out on these festivals starting with the instead of the whole drum solo thing, and everyone's thought that I couldn't do it, so that was kind of a bummer. But whatever. It was more difficult working with him than it was playing the songs because he's mood swings and bipolarism and craziness. But it was just a challenge because you had to really have your swing, your groove had to be 110%. Like Dave's all about the feel. He doesn't care what technically. Just it has to feel right.
The right groove.
Yeah, and your swing, your shuffle, has to be
perfect.
Close to perfect because he's so
Jeff Porcaro style.
Yeah. I wish I could play like that. But many drummers that try out for Dave, he always says the same thing. Like, I don't care how well you play, if your swing is not happening, you're not, Because everything was swung from Just a Gigolo, California Girls, Hot for Teacher. Yes. There were so many songs on the Van Halen catalog that were swing that we were doing, bottoms up, and so that was great. But then the bad thing about Dave was I never got any press, and I wasn't allowed to do interviews like this. I wasn't allowed to do. So I'm playing arenas and no one knew who I was. It was really weird, and he never let the band do press. So after a while, I was like, I needed to move on. And so I met Robert and Dean DeLeo, some stunt double pilots at the NAMM show, and they were starting a band with Richard from Filter. And that's when I said, they were auditioning drummers. I said, I need to audition for you guys because David's great, but I need to move on. I need to get my career going because it wasn't, so that's what happened. I finally told Dave, I'm leaving, and he was cool. We just said the door's always open, kind of thing. But and then Army of Anyone was the next band after that, and that was I sunk everything into that band, you know. And that's one of my favorite records I ever played on, you know, by far. But pretty short-lived. It was only about 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. We did one tour, and then people just started, you know, Stone Temple Pilots were thinking about getting back together. Filter was thinking about getting. I was like, oh no. So maybe it was just a side project. But at first, it was supposed to be a real full band and make multiple records.
Yes.
But it wasn't like that. So right at the end of it, our last couple weeks of touring, Army of Anyone was managed by the same management as Korn. So that's what happened. That's how I got in this band. So it was just like one thing with another. And then they were having drummer problems. They had Joey from Slipknot filling in '07.
Yes.
Terry played on some of the record, Brooks Wackerman. They had all these fill-ins, and so I just got hired to do the tour in the end of '07, and we started in '08, and then that was it. Like a year and a half or so later, they said, we don't want you going anywhere, I want you staying in here. So.
And did you never meet Terry Bosser?
Oh yeah, many times. Yeah. We just did a drum channel thing at drumchannel.com.
Yes. I
did it at DW Factory, and Terry interviewed me. It's going to be coming out, you know. He's a great guy, man.
Now you are with the Pearl endorsement.
Pearl, yeah.
Yeah.
Last 2.5 years, yeah.
Yes.
Been with Sabian since '94, ProMark since about '95, Pearl just 2.5 years, and then DW, I don't know how long now. But my new stick's out now too. It's a 757 model on ProMark.
Yes.
It's just starting to come to Europe now. I'm starting to see it, which is good, you know. So a little bit longer than a 5B, a little bit fatter up top than a 5B, you know.
Yeah. After by mail you can send me all the pics
Yes.
and the
Specs. Sure.
specs of your set, and
Yep.
you can put on the
Sure.
magazine.
Modern Drummer just did a thing, gearing up. Taylor Hawkins is on the cover. That's my exact gear what I'm using. So I don't know if you have that issue. Do you get Modern Drummer or no?
In Italy
Kinda-
it's not
No, it's probably-
really,
Okay.
really popular.
I'll email you. I'll
Okay,
send you.
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Great. Do you
Yeah.
know Taylor Hawkins?
I met him a couple times. He's cool. He's a cool guy.
And which are your idols nowadays? Drumming idols or music idols? You are trying to get an inspiration when.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't listen to a lot of drummers for inspiration. I just listen to music in general, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like it could be certain, and it's not really rock a lot. It's like it's I can put a Seal record on it and love, you know what I mean? Or I can put I just listened to the new Björk, and she's so weird the way she phrases vocals, and it's very inspirational. Makes me want to play different stuff on drums
Yes.
or pick up guitar and write. I write a little bit on guitar and bass, you know. So drummers are, it's weird. Like we just played with Journey. Dean Castronovo is one of my favorite drummers. You know, I get really inspired when I watch him. You know, and musical drummers like him. You know what I mean? Like he's a great singer. He's got a great sense of melody. He doesn't just sit back there and play drums. You know, a lot of
I
drummers.
saw him last year with Journey in Milano.
Yeah. You hear him? Did he sing lead?
Yes.
So amazing, man. So, you know, people like that inspire me more than like a shredding drummer that can play 800 mile an hour and show off. I don't get all that sometimes, you know. It's more, it doesn't move me. It has to move me emotionally. And if it doesn't, I don't care, you know. So.
And some years ago, you made a DVD.
Mm-hmm. It's old now. It's like 2005. I made that. Yeah. So
Are you trying to create a new one?
I have all the material. It's just a matter of getting it all together and doing another one, you know. But now everyone's doing these like 7-minute videos online. They release, you know, just small lessons here, there. So a couple agencies are telling me just do that. Don't release a whole DVD. But I have enough for another DVD. I have to do it and find the time. You know, if we have a couple months off sometime and I can focus on it, because I don't want to just put it out, you know, just to put it out. You know, there's so much out there, man. God, you see all those new ones? They have like Todd Zuckerman's and all that. Just they're amazing. It's like you watch them, like, you know, but you have to do what you do, and you know. But when I made the one in 2005, I did it as I was never going to make another one. Like, okay, here's my one shot. Here's all I know, you know. And I was like, oh shit, you know. Of course you grow. And, you know.
How was the feedback with your DVD?
It was good. I mean, it was. There was a lot of stuff on there that like I wish I could have like spaced out into 2 or 3, because I crammed so much into that one. We filmed for 6 hours. and we had to make an hour and 43-minute DVD. So like a lot of stuff got cut, you know. So, I definitely want to put another one out in the next year or two. I definitely do.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.